if I might seem a little distracted, was just in the middle of a nice dinner with 6 overs still to go in what could have been a spirited run chase. But there are still 6 overs to go. The only problem is Kolkata have lost all their 10 wickets. And that means it's another crushing victory for Lucknow. It's 4 in a row in the back end of the tournament. WWWW. 176 for 7. Well, some might have felt that they could have got a few more, but they didn't. They put that on the board. It was more than enough. 101 all out. Some respectability from Andre Russell's 45. Sunil Narayan, a couple of lusty blows to get 22, but it was never going to be their game. Avesh Khan, Jason Holder, Mohsin Khan, who started the rot, and the much vaunted bowling attack of Lucknow coming to the party. Here to review an early finish on a double-header Saturday, we've got Shaun Pollock and Lisa Sthalekar. Shaun, I'm wondering what I interrupted. Mine was dinner. What were you doing with 6 overs to go?
And I was just sitting watching and couldn't believe what was unfolding before my eyes. After our halftime chatter, I thought, there was still a chance that Dre Russ and even Nareen, when they were getting going, I thought maybe they could be competitive. But to lose in that manner, quality performance from Lucknow, we can't get away from that. Really good up front with the bat and at the back end with the bat. And we've talked about and sort of spoken up their bowling department, and they really stood up, every single one of them. Even Bishnu, I mean, he was under pressure. You always are going to be when Dre Russ is coming hard at you. But everyone who came to the crease had intent, had a good game plan, had real good self-belief, and implemented. And for me, I don't see a possibility that Kolkata are still in this tournament. That net run rate of them is going to take a dive again. And you're just wondering where the form of some of their top 4 or 5 would come from. And as I mentioned at the halfway chat, it wasn't the fact that they get out, and you can get out. It was the mode of dismissal. Everyone backing away, not standing in the crease, when your form is bad, you've got to, as often as possible, stand as still as possible, give yourself the best chance to middle the delivery. So, yeah, it just seems like it's a bit of a shotgun approach, calling all pockets kind of effort.
Yeah, we were chatting on Cricbuzz Combox, Lisa, about the mode of those dismissals. Some of them were, of course, moving around too much, horizontally, vertically, whichever way you want to look at it on the crease. But Shreyas Iyer is something we also talked about. That short ball, slightly quicker from Chamira, we know is sheer quality, but it's yet again a case of Shreyas Iyer being found out there.
Yeah, and really clever captaincy as well to ensure that Badoni was waiting in the wings and right next to the umpire, slightly in from the inner circle as well. So knew exactly where they wanted him to hit it, and got the right length and line to Iyer, which troubled him. And yeah, there are certain patterns that are forming with this Kolkata side. There are certain weaknesses being shown, and good teams are exploiting it.
Yeah, and it's something they'll need to look back. I mean, we will, of course, during the course of the show, have a look at the points table. But even if you don't look at the numbers, it's starting to look very grim for them, Shaun. Whatever it is, they're going to have to put it right very quickly, even if they have to mathematically now stay alive.
Yeah, I just think even the selection, I don't know what the future holds for Finch. He needs a more structured partner at the top of the order if it is going to continue. I mean, in all honesty, we probably know better, but if someone from a cricket fraternity hadn't been following the IPL and came and watched, they would almost get the impression that top 5 was scared the way they were playing, like trying to give themselves room because they were worried about the pace that was on offer. And that's clearly what you can't be wanting. I mean, you look at the guys who are successful. I mean, take, for example, a KR Rahul or Quinton de Kock at the top of the order today. Yes, they're looking to be aggressive. They're looking to play positively. But they stand in the ground, they're getting from a firm base, and they're looking to play from there. Every once in a while they'll move around the crease just to try and upset things. But I mean, to lose 4 or 5 wickets in a similar manner, very surprised by the approach.
Yeah, it's been almost a tale of this tournament, Lisa. Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata. All you need to do is add up the total number of championships between these two sides, and it's an impressive number. Those two we've already talked about. The number is 11. And for Kolkata, for their fraternity, for their fans, for their adoring public, they'll be looking and saying, is this the side? Is this the culture that went on to win all those tournaments?
Yeah, there'll be a lot of soul searching going on and trying to figure out what are the missing ingredients. And you can kind of go through, and we've highlighted a number of them. The runs at the top, X factor from a bowling perspective, people that they bought, players that they bought that would have an impact, haven't had that. A Pat Cummins, does he come back in? So I wonder what they'll do, whether they'll kind of go, right, things aren't working with this 11, almost change, almost 3-4 changes the next game to see if they can kind of get back onto that winning feeling. And then you never know, but there is still so much stuff for them to work through. And they need to do it quickly because they don't have any time. I think, like Polly, I think they're very close to being eliminated.
Yeah, I mean, if just look at the numbers, look rather the names sitting on there. You've got Cummins, Billings, Rahane, Venkatesh Iyer, Varun Chakravarti, Mohammad Nabi, and Karunaratne. Those are some serious names who are just sitting and playing tiddlywinks, Shaun.
Well, next year we can have an 11th team. We just put those guys in because they're all pretty good. It'll be a decent franchise. Yeah, it is a hard one. Obviously you go to the auction, you try and pick the certain players. I mean, their retentions haven't worked out for them this year. But I mean, we talk about, okay, maybe they need to make some wholesale changes, but that's what they've been doing the whole season, to be honest. They chopped and changed everywhere. I mean, I couldn't tell you what their starting 11, if you had to average it out over the 11 games. I couldn't tell you who started more than half of them, the way things have gone. So, yeah, it's been a little bit hit and miss for me. I'm more of a very structured kind of individual. I like things to be in place, and you tinker with one or two positions in the side. But it has seemed a case in point where just they chop and change, and everyone's been given a go, and no one's come good.
Yeah, you could see it on some of the faces of the fans, the faithful fans. Of course, the fans of Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, they all continue to keep faith. But sometimes when the moment happens in a game where you're feeling, well, this is where we have to pick up 2 points, you could see some of them in purple with shell shock. There were some purple tears almost flowing down some of the fans over there. What does it do to the number of points that they haven't picked up? And what does that mean for them? Yeah, a Kolkata fan wouldn't want to have a look at this. They really needed to get into double figures today, and then 3 more matches would have got them 6 more points for 16. Now, 14 is the maximum they can get, and the way things look, 14 doesn't even look mathematically. I mean, it's possible. They don't have an E next to their name, but it'll take some bizarre results to help them, maybe even Punjab qualify at this stage. For Lucknow, look at them flying high. Shaun, very quickly, 1 plus 1.120, you were giving Gujarat an honorary Q. How big a Q are you giving Lucknow at this stage?
Look at their net run rate, 0.7. So I mean, they basically got to lose 3 games by about 70 runs in each game to get it down to. So I'm giving the 2 new kids on the block, they get a qualification. If you're on one of those shows, I don't know what it's, The Voice or Something's Got Talent or whatever, you hit the red buzzer. I mean, the gold buzzer.
The golden buzzer,
they go all the way.
Buzzer. They're going all the way. They're going all the way into the finals.
Yeah, some of the harsher. I mean, I was just trying to think, Lisa. It's probably a Simon Cowell who's the harshest judge of all. Nobody wants to face him, and he's the one who comes with the golden buzzer, and everyone's like, Simon gave it to us. I wonder if Shaun is the one who they're going to be loving getting the golden buzzer from.
No, Polly's too nice anyway. Come on, like there's not a bad bone in his body. Hey, he's just
I'm giving those
nice.
2. Those 2 or 3 are through, and the 3 at the bottom are gone. They're not going through to the next round.
I've never argued
That's
that
my
Polly's nice.
assessment as a judge.
It's just that as a judge and as someone who's chairman of scenarios.com, he needs to keep that going. He needs to make sure it's done right. So hence, it has to be done properly for him. So we'll say, can I say ginger buzzer instead of golden buzzer?
You can say whatever you want.
Go, Gautam, go, get him.
There you go. That's it. I mean, he likes it. They support the community. It's a fraternity, and we love them as well. So there you go. That buzzer means that Lucknow and Gujarat certainly have 1 foot in the last 4, and which means out of the other 8 teams, only 2 slots up for grabs in all possibility, which should be fun and games. But let's talk about one of the 2 teams with a foot in the door. Interesting, Lisa, that KL Rahul, he's got a couple of first bowlers in this tournament. Lucknow lost both those games. This time around, he didn't even face a ball. He got a duck. Lucknow turned it around. They won without him.
Yeah, they did, and that's excellent for this side moving forward. We mentioned it at the innings break that it can't just be one guy getting all the runs. So Quinton de Kock coming to the party, I think, was really important for them. And then the scary thing about Lucknow is, I think there's a few of us that believe if they can get their order right, it's even more. Or they've got more opportunities to post big totals and really take an opposition apart. So I think that's going to be really crucial for them going forward now, just to figure out what the order is and what they want.
Yeah, but I think it's a nice situation to be in all honesty. This is the perfect situation. When you win a game as comfortably as that, you can tackle the hard questions in a team unit because no one takes offense. You could be playing well, you're winning, you've had a good trot now. Was it 4 in a row? You can say to the middle order, listen, guys, not good enough. We need to be at a higher strike rate. We need to be rotating the strikes. You need to find the boundary options. We've got firepower. If you can't do it, we have to promote them. And that's when the perfect time is to have those discussions. When you're on the losing streak, everyone gets sensitive about what you say. I feel like they're picking on you because you haven't won and they may be blaming you for the reason that they haven't performed. It's a nice situation to be in where you basically qualified, you're winning on a winning streak, and you can just tweak a few things.
Yeah, probably tweak is a good word for it because we really haven't found any holes to pick with the Lucknow 11, just who comes in where, particularly in the batting order. No such problems when it comes to the bowling. They've just been coming hard as a unit, even when they've had a phase in between like they did today with Andre Russell going hard, Sunil Narayan a few blows. Didn't really matter. There didn't seem to be any panic whatsoever. They almost watched the entertainment for a few minutes and then said, our bowling attack's good enough to do the job. Lisa?
Yeah, and that's what you need to understand. It's T20 cricket. Your good balls or your ones that you miss slightly, and I mean like an inch or two, it goes the distance. It goes for 6. You've just got to soak up that pressure. You've got to go, okay, an opposition is allowed to come hard at us, but it's how quickly we forge a new plan, figure out what lengths, what pace, all of those things, how quickly you can adjust that plan will be the meaning, between winning a game or winning that moment. And they were able to do that. They kind of were able to soak up the pressure that Russell was putting under them, and they found a way to pick him up.
And it had to be key bowling changes as well. KL Rahul always looked like, it's easy when you've won a game, but it also could have gone pear-shaped if you just make the wrong decisions at the wrong time, that 125-30 run over that comes against you. So he had to be in control out there despite the gulf between the sides on the day. Shaun?
Yeah, if you look at Dre Russell and the way he performs, there'd be a lot of people who'd go, if he could just temper things at some stage, if he could come in, bang, 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 and then just go into back into 4th or 5th gear, knock it around, hit another boundary. As a captain, you would be really stuck with what you're going to do then. But I think the case in point with him is he comes and he continues to go hard. So if he's going to stick around, he's going to end up winning the game for them. So you've got to be proactive. You've got to go to your bowlers who you think you can knock him over. And I think that's what KL was trying to do. He was trying to get different guys in, trying to mix it up, trying to make life uncomfortable, and trying to create opportunities. They created other ones that they put down. But as I say, he's not the guy who's just going to knock back a bowler. So you go for the guy who's going to knock him over. And those are obviously often your best call.
And today, Avesh Khan, Lisa, showed that he's missed a couple of games in between. He was out, then back in, then out, then back in. And today, I think he was wanting to just remind everybody, this is what I was like last season, and I complete this attack.
He does complete the attack simply because he can bowl at all the different phases. And he does it with so much energy, so much passion. And you love his celebrations every time he picks up the wicket, and he's learned his art of being able to bowl in those different phases, to be able to bowl his Yorkers. He has a real trust in his ability. And, you thought leaving Delhi it might be too much for him, this young guy, to kind of lead the attack of Lucknow. He's done it exceptionally well. So credit to him that he comes back in and goes, bang, I'm here again. Watch out.
But really, no matter how good Bishnoi and Avesh and Dushmanta Chamira with his extra pace, and of course Jason Holder with all his international experience were, it was the unheralded bowler who started things off. Kolkata didn't know what to expect, and to have an over at the very top, which would be a wicket maiden, and then to finish with an economy of 2 has to be top class. And that's why Mohsin Khan is our Omnigel relief and recovery performer of the match. Omnigel, India's #1 pain recovery gel brand, not only gives quick relief, but also recovery from pain. No dud for the fans. Well, there was really never any dud, but what he did was, if there was any chance of it, if there was any chance of that run, the number of runs being chased down, he erased it early on. Shaun, how good was that start? A wicket maiden from an unheralded bowler against a team who like chasing.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, if you just go through those 10 deliveries up front, the first over, 5 brilliant deliveries. They try and change their game plan. He gets a wicket. And then I think it was Finch on strike in the next over, and he beat the bat about 3 times out of the first 4 deliveries. So it was fantastic. And I mean, to think, for me, in many ways, he was a bit of an unknown quantity coming into this RPL. He sat on the side. He got his chance. Sure, he really has taken it with both hands. I'm good to see Avish Khan back in, because I think that balances things nicely. But I think that left arm option at the front of the innings, with the bounce he gets and the shape through the air, has been a real find for them.
And imagine this is coming as a replacement player. He was not either, forget starting 11. He was never considered in the first set of reserves to come in there if there should be an injury. He comes in there, and now there's no way you're going to get him out.
Yeah, it's a great story, isn't it? And it just shows you, if you're an Indian domestic player and you miss the auction, still keep your head down, still keep doing the right things, try and become, one of those net bowlers or, within the franchise. And you never know what will happen, because we know the competition is so long. Internationals come with niggles to start with. Then there's always injuries halfway through. You never know what's possible. And he's taken his opportunity. Coaches want players, when they walk in for the first time at any level, to take that chance with both hands, and don't let anyone else take that opportunity or their spot again. And he's done exactly that.
He had some big shoes to fill, to be replacing someone like Avesh Khan, picked up for very basic price of 20 lakhs. And that's what you really want to see from some of the young players. Shaun, the difference between a bowler making an impression and a batsman making an impression, you're not going to always get a 5-fer to start with. So Badoni was one example of someone who came in, maybe was explosive for a couple of games, but has tapered off a bit. Mohsin Khan made the impression. Even when he's not got the wickets, you could see he has the control. Is that the key to a new bowler making an impression? Control.
Yeah, I think it's more difficult for a bowler to make an impression, in all honesty, in the T20 format. And he's backed it up. It hasn't just been 1 or 2 performances. It's been at least 3 or 4. So I think he's going to go from strength to strength. He can only gain in confidence. I think he's a better option up front than Avish Khan, because of the seam position that he presents, the wrist position that he bowls with. He gets the ball to move, and he gets the ball to bowl, gets some nice bounce as well. So, yeah, I suppose you can't ask for more. I mean, to think of where he was and where he is now, feeling like he's on top of the world, it is a great story, and one of many that you get to experience at the RPL.
And he wouldn't have imagined being the Omnigel relief and recovery performer of the match, which is exactly what he is. Made the early impression. Look at those figures. 3 overs, 1 for 6, 15 dot balls, no dud for fans when you have a performance like that one for Mohsin Khan against Kolkata. Well, it's a little cheeky, a little early to talk about it, but yet another option for getting to those Australian wickets, Lisa. Yet another option. And I just say option.
Yeah, it's a tantalizing option, isn't it? Left armour. And like Polly was saying, the bounce that he's able to extract, imagine what that would look like. But come on, how many can you take? Like, you've got to, same with your batting as well. You can't take everyone. Some hard decisions are going to have to be made, but he's definitely putting his hand up at the right time of the season.
Can we take 2 teams?
Well, one thing I will say is it's
hang on. You got to win. You got to win the title first. Come on, don't get too cocky.
Yeah, I think the Australians have a right to do that, not only because of what they did in Dubai, but yeah, they've got a history, Lisa. In your triangular, which you turned into a quadrangular, which meant visitor, Australia and Australia A. So, and I think both of the Australians reached the final the first time it happened.
Yeah, they did. They did a number of times actually. During COVID, actually, there was a few people actually wanting the Australia A and Australian games to kind of be reignited again. So yeah.
Shaun, you were saying.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to add is I think it's more of a dilemma for the bowlers. I mean, who do you pick bowling wise? I think batting wise, it'll be a little bit easier because not as many people have shown that quality performances as we've seen in the bowling department. But one thing you must never forget is people who've done the job for you already, tried and tested, hold their nerve at the international level. There's something to be said for those. And it's always exciting to see these guys come along and with their ability, and you can just imagine. But never go too far away from the guys who know how to do the job at that level.
I think the only good thing we can say is with the new trend of taking a few extra people along with the squad, having them there as net bowlers, as replacements, I'm pretty sure Mohsin Khan will qualify as a contender, at least for that, for the moment. But well done to him. Well done to Lucknow for getting over the line by a very, very serious margin indeed. But as we look ahead to Sunday, it's not over. All the movements up and down the table are going to continue well into Sunday. And as Shaun Pollock said, when we wake up on Monday morning, that's when we'll really see the damage that's been done and the movements that have happened. For now, let's start with the afternoon of Sunday. It's going to be Hyderabad taking on Bangalore. And this is going to be critical, I think, for both teams. This is not one of those bottom clashes, nor is it the two new franchises at the top. It's somewhere in the middle, and a win could take you upwards, a loss could take you downwards. Have a look at that. It's 4 playing 6. And Shaun, 4 playing 6 is about as close as you can get at this stage.
Yeah, it is. And if you look on the right-hand column, I think that's the key because Bangalore minus 0.44, Hyderabad plus 0.325. Therein lies the point that Bangalore actually can't afford too many slip-ups. They haven't got the luxury of a good net run rate, and they aren't going to overturn that minus 0.4 very quickly. So as much as you would think they're 2 points clear, if Hyderabad do win this, I know we've talked about bonus points, but if Hyderabad do win this, it's basically a bonus point on RCB because they'll be on equal points, but firmly in front.
Yeah, that's the way they'll go. They'll get to 12 points. So let's start with Hyderabad, Lisa. Again, at the start of the tournament, we remember there was Chennai, there was Mumbai, and there was Hyderabad. We were talking about them in the same breath. None of these guys are performing. They haven't come to the party. Suddenly, they crashed the party.
Yeah, they crashed the party hard, didn't they? 5 wins on the row, and everyone was like, definitely playoff contenders, going to be up there. And then all of a sudden they hit a big curb and they've lost their last 3. And the real issue for Hyderabad is the fact that Washington Sundar and the splitting of his webbing has caused him issues. Not sure whether he comes back in, and Natarajan as well. They're the 2 big misses for Hyderabad. And without them, their bowling looks a little bit light. I mean, Abbott came in and had a bit of an impact. Shreyas Gopal, he went for some runs and he managed to pick up a wicket. But yeah, those 2, the class of Sundar and Natarajan, will certainly be missed.
But let's get this the fast bowler battle sorted right here, because we've got Australia versus South Africa right here on Cricbuzz Live. So Shaun Abbott's come in and played the last game. Marco Jansen has had a match-winning performance already. Which one do you go for, having seen both now? Shaun, over to you first.
Well, I'd just say you need match-winning performances going forward. So anyone who's done the dirty already and produced some sort of spell, just kind of stick with him. You probably got more chances of doing it again.
Whereas I think you go based on your last performance, and if that was good enough, and you weren't linking too many runs, and you can provide some late order hitting and good in the field. You know, all three aspects, which are so really important in T20 cricket. Probably stick with us that side. Yeah.
What I would add is what I would add as well, right, is that 1 wicket in 3 RPL games in your career compared to 3 wickets against the same team in the space of 4 deliveries. I don't know. You know, it seems like a no-brainer. Seems like a no-brainer to me.
But then you've got to go Abbott. You know, when he played, he was really young the first time. This is the first game this year. I mean, there's a lot to Gautam, help us out here. Who would you go with?
I'm just sitting back and enjoying this. Just threw it out there, and it was a debate from the ages. But in all honesty, the one point I was going to make from a neutral perspective, and Shaun briefly referred to it, and the one reason I might lean a little bit towards South Africa for the moment is just the memory of that reverse fixture, because that was the reverse fixture in which Marco Jansen made all that early impression. So do you bring him straight back in then? Lisa,
yeah, look, I'll agree. I'll agree. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I will agree. I think you've got to put yourself in the batter's position, and they go, "Hang on, this guy, he troubled us. Yeah, he troubled us. You know, we don't really want to come. I know he hasn't had the last few games that he played. He got met." But still, he's uncomfortable to face. I mean, that height that he has is a huge advantage. So, and I think he's the type of player that you want. He's an X factor within your side, something different. So you want him to feel good about himself. So bring him back against a side that he had a lot of success.
Well, we've sorted that debate out very quickly. I think Tom Moody is probably a lot easier to chat with Marco Jansen. They're the same level when they both stand up, so that'll be good when that'll be good when they get started. But on the batting department, Shaun, Kane Williamson will have to manufacture some runs quickly because this is getting to a critical stage.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, when you set your standards that he has over the years, he'll be disappointed. He'll be more disappointed. And often as international cricketers, I always used to felt like I was my worst critic. You didn't need to tell me I was going badly. I knew it myself. And that's the situation he'll find himself. But there's some promising signs down the rest of the order. Markram Puram have played well. Abhishek Sharma at the top, I think he's good. So if you just get Kane to make a contribution, like we know he can, that'll settle down. I wouldn't be overly concerned. I don't think that's been it has been the issue with him not performing, but I think in general, guys batting around him have kept him in the mix.
Yeah, I think Puran, after being announced as captain of the West Indies, another blinder the other day, albeit in a losing cause. But what about Bangalore now? They will, on the one side, you're saying Hyderabad will come out with all the memory of that last game. How to Bangalore, Lisa, erase the memory of that? Because it's the same opposition. It's just been a few days ago.
You just, no doubt the team and the players after that debacle against Hyderabad would have not even probably said that much in the change room. One of those games that you just have to park it and move it on, and you're allowed to have a game that things don't go well. I mean, it does hurt them, and it has hurt them in a net run rate perspective, but you can't hold on to it. So these guys are experienced enough in the top order of Faf, Glenn Maxwell, Virat, experienced enough and senior enough to almost help the youngsters around them to go, you know what, let's just get on with it. It's probably the youngsters as well that we're starting to see it. They don't have any fear of failing. They don't carry too much baggage. They move on from things really quickly. So maybe they're the guys to potentially change it. But one thing is for sure, I don't think Lomror was playing that game against Hyderabad. And, he seems to have found a fair bit of confidence, which means if he's confident, it lengthens their order. And that means the top order feel like, hey, we don't always have to be the ones scoring the runs. We've got guys like DK, Lomror, that can really go hard and big.
And Patidar also has started making runs, so that's going to be a little bit of a slight change for them. And also the other positive they can draw out is probably around that one game is when Wanindu Hasaranga was at his low point in the tournament, almost not picking up wickets at all, and of course not getting a chance to contribute with the bat. So with him now back taking wickets, I think they'll feel that they can completely erase everything and Kohli at the top.
Yeah, I mean, Cody's got some runs under the belt. I'm sure he can try and work on the strike rate a little bit. But I mean, if you look at that four players that you've got your Duplessis, you've got Coley, you've got, why am I having a blank?
Maxi.
Then Maxwell, and then you got DK. I mean, all of them, they come in with reputations. When those guys walk to the crease, opposition take notice. You stand up and think, oh, I hope it's not his day, because you know what they can do to you. Umral's got some runs as well, but as you mentioned, I think Hasaranga is key in their middle overs. They seem to have been okay in the first six and sort of done their part and put teams under pressure. But when Hasaranga's on form, they do seem like a different unit.
So the four overseas, the stalwarts, the likes of Harshal Patel back after his brief departure, thanks to the family bereavement. So with all that falling into place, just the two other newcomers are Lomror and Patidar. Lisa, we're suggesting here on Cricbuzz Live that they go with the same 11 as their last outing.
Yeah, I can't see them making any changes. I think looking at that side, that's their best 11. All those guys, when they get it right, they're very hard to compete against. So, no changes going through unless some little niggle that we're not sure of.
It should be a fascinating contest, Bangalore against Hyderabad. That's going to be under the heat in the afternoon. Is it going to be another win toss and bat first? Now it's starting to become the trend for two reasons: the heat and, of course, the condition of the surfaces. What's coming up in the evening? Yes, we are back to a team who don't quite have an E next to their name, but it won't be long. Chennai taking on Delhi. Just climbing out of the bottom of the table are Chennai. But from Delhi's perspective, I think this match is more critical than anything, because these are the matches, Shaun, that are those party spoilers. Mumbai start winning, Chennai start winning. The teams that lose are going to be dented.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they need to keep on picking up points. And the teams, you always used to look at a log and realize, okay, the guy's down 9 and 10, we should be able to roll them over. But it's a different kettle of fish if you're 9 and 10 this year. I mean, the history and some of those players and those units are not mugs. Let's put it that way. But I think Delhi trending in the right direction. Personally, we've documented all the things that haven't gone according to plan, from injuries to replacements to people not being available to certain individuals not performing. But you just get the feeling that they sort of are getting a bit of an attitude in that camp where they've got the belief growing, and I'm liking the way they're playing. So I think it'll be a tough one, even though Chennai have eventually got the top of the order firing and setting good platforms for them in the last two games. I mean, they'll be disappointed they didn't get over the line in the last one, but they've really seemed like they've sorted out something at the top.
Let's stick with Delhi, Lisa. David Warner, big plus. Prithvi Shaw didn't play the last game. Rovman Powell's form, I mean, they're starting to use him the way they really should be using him. And, of course, Mitchell Marsh, after that first outing that he had, then a couple of games he misses out, and now he looks the part.
Yeah, he does, and everything seems to be going well. I mean, if you bring back Prithvi Shaw for Mandeep Singh, and then you bring back Aksa Patel as well for who came in, Ripul Patel.
Ripul Patel did,
yeah. Patel for Patel. Then that side is looking pretty formidable, isn't it? Anrik Nokia looked really good. They want him to stay on the park. So I think that's a really good squad, good 11. And I agree with Shaun in the sense that I think they're trending in the right fashion. The start was horrendous, and they were almost just gritting their teeth and just trying to get through it. Now they're through it, and they can now start to enjoy their fruits.
Yeah, they'll be
up. I haven't read anything about Khalil Ahmed. I don't know if his collarbone is fine. I didn't read any reports, so they'll be hoping that's good.
Well, just going by the way he finished off the game, it seemed all right. But as you said, we'll have to keep an eye on reports. That was quite a stinger that came back at him from Nicholas Puran in that last game. But certainly the availability of Khalil, he was out with Sakaria playing a couple of games, is a plus for Delhi. Chennai, of course, no pushovers. Whether you talk about playing for pride or playing for a mathematical possibility, they're going to keep playing hard every single time. And they're starting to sort out things at the top. Mitchell Santner, Moeen Ali was the toss-up. Moeen Ali came back in. He's got some runs. The big plus for them will have to be the surprise plus, Lisa, Devon Conway.
Yeah, I mean, they tried
with a
him-
ring on his
tried-
finger.
Yeah, they tried him at the start, didn't work. He sat out a couple of games, left the bio bubble, got married, came back in, had that wonderful partnership with Ruturaj at the top, and then was able to produce something very similar again the second game that he was opening. So, yeah, he has been an absolute bonus for them, and you can't see that top order being disturbed at all. They're not going to make any changes. The only change potentially could be if DJ Bravo is fit enough. I would imagine that they'll throw him back in because of just his ability right at the end. So clever, such a trickster when it comes to his slower deliveries. And he can give you some late order hitting as well.
Are you suggesting that you're going to drop another South African?
Yes. Sorry. You're such a stirrer, you are.
Well, honestly, who else makes way? Because Thikshan has certainly kept his place.
Yeah.
Moeen Ali's come back in, and it's sort of a like-for-like replacement, Shaun, really. Dwayne Pretorius has done really well with bat and ball, but if they want that guile of DJ Bravo at the back end, then it has to be Bravo for Pretorius.
Yeah, I think Pretorius has played a few little cameos. It doesn't only mean like teams that he's got and struck it really well, but I think it's the bowling strength that they'd want, and that's why they probably would go back to Bravo. I've got no problem with Lisa kicking our South Africans out. That's fine.
Oh, that's a bit of fun in there. But yeah, Chennai will certainly be buoyed by Ruturaj scoring runs, Devon Conway scoring runs. Robin Uthappa almost doesn't need to perform at the moment. Of course he does. He will find a way to do so in the middle order. All looking good for Chennai. Even Ambati Raidu has been getting runs for them. So looking good for Chennai, which means Delhi, look out. You need to be on your A game. Whether or not Prithvi Shaw comes back, we shall find out only on Sunday evening. Joy factor question. Seems a long time ago that we actually asked you the question. So let's give you a quick reminder. And here it is. Highest first-class score is 181 for Yorkshire against Glamorgan. Oh, God. But more prominently, a statue in his honour in the town of Barnsley. Name the cricketer. Lisa Sthalekar, take it away.
Well, I thought it was Darren Gough. But then I went on Twitter and I realised a lot of people were saying someone else. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know that he scored that many runs. So I got it wrong, I am assuming.
Fair enough. Shaun, did you have any ideas, thoughts?
Yeah, I also thought it was Goffey. I suppose, I don't know who else they had put a statue of. And the one thing was always, I remember there was one inning, so that he got 100. I just didn't know it was as high as 181, if it was him.
All right, let's give you the answer.
I'm interested. What did you find on Twitter?
Oh,
that's what I found.
What a wonderful answer. Yeah. Harold Bird. Joy's questions. There has to be a bit of a googly. There's two famous questions to which the answer was Dickie Bird. One is this, and the other favorite is Sourav Ganguly's first test match, also Rahul Dravid's, was who's last. And you start going through the entire 11 of England. You start going through the entire 11 of India and go, who? Dickie Bird's last test match as umpire was Sourav Ganguly and Rahul Dravid's first one. So Harold Bird finds his way in there.
Well,
Joy.
The worst thing about it is that me and Lisa both said, oh, well, this is the one we've actually got quickly.
Exactly.
Oh, Darren
I thought, excellent. I know Barnsley. I know two cricketers from there, Catherine Brunt, Darren Gough. Yes, I've got this. Nailed it. No.
If good old Dazzler was watching our show, he'd be so disappointed because he's like, I didn't know I had a statue. But yeah, just for that, we should make one for him. Who's our winner? Who spotted that googly from Joy Bhattacharya? And we know him. The Random Cricket Photos guy. Yeah, at Random Cricket P1. He's a good friend, and I'm glad he got in there. He's a hardcore quizzer, and I can tell you it'll take somebody like him. And by the way, Lisa, Shaun, in case you don't follow him, pop in there and try and follow him on Twitter. He's put some really fun stuff, cricket discussions, photographs, and well done on picking that one up. It took a proper quizzer to get that one. Dickie Bird, the answer. It had to be a tough one on a tough Saturday. Sorry, Lisa. Sorry, Shaun. We promise you we'll give you another opportunity to get that one right. But yeah, it's been a bit of movement up and down the table on Saturday night. We're finishing a little bit earlier than we would have expected, thanks to Lucknow's bowlers. We're not going to get into midnight. And Lisa, of course, you're not thinking of 4 a.m. anymore. Welcome to
No
Indian
more.
time. Welcome to
Thank
Indian time. Thank you, Shaun. Thank you, Lisa.
All
And
good.
to all of you for joining us. Quick reminder, in case you like that question from Joy about Dickie Bird, he's got some stingers, some teasers just like that on Retro Reels. So pop on to Cricbuzz Plus and subscribe, and you can get on Retro Reels. And if you know what Joy does on a Sunday, some of us sleep, some of us work, Joy parties. And when he parties, he gets on to Match Party. It's great fun. You too can join the party. You're invited. Cricbuzz Plus, get in there. It's a free invitation. Get on and subscribe to Cricbuzz Plus, and you could be part of Match Party. It's Saturday night. We could go and party. I think I might just use the extra 30 minutes. Again, thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Shaun. Love you all for joining us. We'll see you soon on Sunday. For now, that's all on Cricbuzz Live.